Welcome to eTutoring's online tutor homepage orientation. First, I'd like to point out that I'm logged into a sample account, so your login and homepage will look slightly different. The first thing I would like to point out is the clock in button. You'll see that it's green right now, and it indicates the last time that you clocked out, which was 11:43 a.m. If you click on it, it turns red, and it indicates what time you clocked in, which is just now. It's important to note that only you can clock in and clock out of the site. You may occasionally be logged out if you're inactive, but only you can push the clock in and clock out button. Please wait for the clock out button to turn green before you log out at the end of your shift. Otherwise, it will look like you're still clocked in. Next, I want to point out your subject list. Of course, this will vary by tutor, as well as the schedule. This is a list for some of your upcoming shifts. It's not a comprehensive list. Down at the bottom, I also want to point out that if you click on View Tutor Schedule, you'll come to a page where you can select certain options to see who's working on which days. You'll notice that on the small calendar on the left, the 10th, 11th, and 12th of January are shaded blue. So that's the only tutor schedule that's showing on the right here. If I select the 13th and update it, it will add some shifts. It will add all of the tutors listed in each subject for the 13th. You can also select a single subject, like accounting, and click update. Those are the accounting tutors for those several days. Or you can click a particular tutor's name. In this case, we'll choose the tutor for the writing lab, and you'll see that they have 2.5-hour shifts coming up. You can also click on See This Week at a Glance, and this shows everyone with a shift during the current week in your consortium. Every tutor in every subject. Notice also that today's date will be highlighted a slightly darker blue. You can also look ahead to next week, and then of course you can look back to the previous week. Returning home, you can see that there are several options. The first is New eQuestions. If you click on this, it will take you to the New eQuestions page. Generally, we call this the eQuestions queue. Notice that questions are listed by subject first and then by date, with the oldest near the top. Most coordinators want you to respond to the oldest question first, regardless of subject. So you see here the one from Friday, July 5th, you would respond to before the one from Tuesday, December 10th. By the way, the flickering you're seeing on the screen is the page refresh, which happens every 15 seconds. This is one of the ways that we make sure you're seeing all of the questions in the queue all the time. I'm going to return back to the home page. By the way, you can also use this bar up here at the top to click on any of these options. So the eQuestions archive is a list of the eQuestions you've answered in the past. Notice that this tutor has 2 red flags. A red flag is an eQuestion that has been removed from the queue, which only you can see and which therefore you must answer. If you don't respond to this question, it will never get a response. The blue check marks are questions that are archived, which means you've already answered them. Most consortium coordinators and institution coordinators want you to make sure you have no red flags in your eQuestions queue before you leave your shift every day. I'm going to return home here and click on the writing lab. Now, of course, the live tutors won't necessarily have a writing lab tab unless your consortium supports synchronous writing tutoring. So here's a general look at what we call the writing lab or the writing queue. And here papers are listed from oldest to newest. So the paper at the top of the list, at the top of the queue, has been there the longest. In other words, the student has been waiting the longest. For writing tutors, that means that's the paper you want to click on. The Writing Lab archive works much the same way as the eQuestions archive. You'll notice here that because this is a sample account, there are no papers waiting in the archives for this tutor. Next, I'm going to click on Live Tutoring. If you're a live tutor, you're going to be very familiar with this page because every time you log in, you're going to see the home page, you're going to click on live tutoring, and it'll bring you to this page. Now, this page will vary based on how many Zoom sessions you have coming up. And you can see that for the purposes of this account, this tutor is scheduled from 8 a.m. to almost midnight every day. You'll also notice that each Zoom meeting corresponds to a specific date, which has a different, unique Zoom room link. This is why if you're a synchronous or live tutor, you always want to make sure you're clicking on the proper link for that particular meeting. Next, I'm going to cover the resources page. This page is a page in progress, but that's sort of the way it was built. It's meant to always be in progress. And in fact, you can add things to this. So for example, if I were a writing tutor, I might click on writing and then APA. And then if I had a good resource for this, I would click on add resource and it would add it to this page so that everybody in all of the consortia could see it. It's a very cool place to stash some of your resources that you like, and notably, you can also mark them as favorites and come back to them more quickly later. I'll show you where that is. So the favorites link is right down here on the bottom, my resource favorites. Finally, I want to show you the tutor usage reports. Now, this is a way that you can see what you've done over a given period of time on eTutoring. So once you're working your shifts, let's say you're curious about, well, I'm a writing tutor, did I get my full 2.5 hours in on a given day? You can set the date range that you want and then click on Generate Report. At the top, you'll see the schedule, so that's going to be your schedule. And then you'll see clock in and clock out. These are the times you physically push that clock in and clock out button. As a reminder, nobody can do that for you, only you can. Tutor login activity shows when you logged in and logged out. Notice that I'm still logged in here today. It'll also show you any e-questions you've responded to during this period, as well as any writing lab responses you've posted during this period. So that's the basic layout of the Tutor homepage. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and check in again for more updates.